Today we're talking about the biggest and baddest strategy games that's going to make 2024 and 2025 a paradise for armchair generals and city building enthusiasts alike. This is a genre that has been slowly growing with titles like Manor Lords and Anno really pushing the boat out. Of course, Civilization has been a massive factor of this genre in the last 2 decades. But whether you're interested in ancient history, building utopias from frozen wastelands, or leading civilizations from humble beginnings to world domination, well, it's going to be a good couple years for you guys. Oh, and by the way, this video is brought to you by Instant Gaming. To get some great deals on all the best upcoming and current titles, make sure you click the link in the description because there's a special giveaway. Anybody that clicks the link in the description and participates increases their chance of winning once an account is created. And if you win, well, you get a free game. So click the link in the description below to check it out. Let's kick it off with Anno 117 Pax Romana. It's set to launch in 2025. The Anno series has always been known for its deep city building and economic systems, but this time Ubisoft has taken us way back to the Roman Empire at its height. This is the earliest time period we've seen in Anno, and it's, well, something that I've been waiting for a long time. I've dipped into the franchise every now and then, and whilst I absolutely adore the detail when it comes to building up your civilizations and cities, and of course the main aspects of trading and building economy, I really wanted to go back a little bit further, and the fact that, well, now we get to do this within Rome really excites me. For the first time, you get to pick your starting province. You'll rule as a Roman governor in Latium, trying to expand the might of the empire, or maybe even leading the Celts in Albion, sticking it to those Roman invaders. This is more than just an aesthetic choice, by the way. It affects your entire playstyle in terms of who you're playing as within the game. Romans will focus on structured, orderly growth, while the Celts offer a more freeform, organic city layout full of tribal traditions. What's unique here is the cultural clash mechanic. As you expand, you'll be able to deal with the push and pull of Romanization, integrating conquered Celt lands while maintaining the loyalty of your local population. This can lead to rebellions if you're too aggressive, or diplomatic triumphs if you handle it wisely. But it's not all just war. Diplomacy plays a bigger role this time, so negotiating with your enemies may be a more viable strategy than simply just conquering them. And this has always been a factor of the Anno series, being able to weigh out the risk reward of, well, your military strength and your economy strength. But there's a little bit more to it now. Of course, Anno is very famous for its co-op and multiplayer modes, and for you multiplayer fans, the real kicker is the competition between players to spread Roman or Celtic influence across the map, almost having a head-to-head with your mates or soon to become your enemies. Who will build the strongest economy? Who will manage resources the best? And who will control the ultimate city? This is all up to you within the new upcoming game. This is one I am incredibly excited for, and oh my god, I mean, I understand it is Ubisoft, but they always look so gorgeous, and Anno has always been a pretty solid franchise, so hopefully, just hopefully, they get this one right. Civilization 7, pretty much the king of 4X strategy games, and well, gameplay has already started to properly come out for this title. It's aiming to be bigger and better than ever. Firaxis is pulling out all the stops, and it's dropping in February of 2025, just time to keep us inside all winter. Now, Civilization 7 is actually promising to shake up the formula somewhat. I think when Civ 5 came out, it was such a hit that it kept people playing for hundreds and hundreds of hours, and while Civilization 6 was pretty well received, it never really got to the same heights as, well, the previous title. So Civ 7 is trying to keep that addicting core nature whilst having a bigger impact for newer players as well. One of the biggest changes is the simplified era system. Instead of making small historical periods, they've now got 3 big ones: antiquity, exploration, and modern. This should streamline gameplay and reduce the late game grind that we've all struggled with. You'll start in the ancient world with independent factions and no more barbarians. These factions can actually evolve into city-states if you treat them well, or they can cause you some serious headaches if you annoy them. Trying to give more character to the initial enemies, because, I mean, well, most of Civilization games was just trying to clear bandit camps to get a few extra bits of technology, or just upgrade your men with the straggling bandits that are hidden in around villages and, of course, trees, that sort of thing. Now they're going to be fully fleshed factions which will be able to grow with you and, well, be able to either take them out or join with them. Another exciting new mechanic is the introduction of crisis events. Think of these like world-changing events that force you to make hard choices, and they happen at the end of each era. Things like famine, revolutions, or even global pandemics, ironically. And these can make or break your civilization when you choose how to respond to dictate your future. But don't forget, it is still Civilization 7, which means all the classic features are coming back, i.e. a huge amount of factions with all their new technologies, and of course, everything to make them try and be as unique as possible. Maybe it's Cleopatra or the Mongols, leaders, a ton of variation as well. But not just that, leaders can now be philosophers, scientists, or religious figures, not just heads of state. Imagine having Socrates lead your military strategy or Marie Curie running your science program. This adds a lot more replayability to the game and customization to each one of your gameplay styles. And once again, multiplayer is coming back. With new era-specific leaderboards and victory conditions, the game is looking very fresh. So far, there's been some mixed reviews on it, but I guess it's only really time to tell. Will this be the next Civilization 5 that keeps people addicted? Or will it be the Beyond Earth one, you know, that people didn't really actually like that much? I guess we're about to find out very, very soon. Okay, Ara History Untold is coming out it's coming out in a few days from when I'm making this video. But my god, does it look absolutely incredible. I've actually made a full video deep diving into this title because I was so excited by it. But it is launching on the 24th of September, so if you're a fan of alternate history, this one is definitely for you. It's developed by Oxide Games, who, you know, they haven't actually made a full RTS before, or if you're fond of RTSs, they have, well, done bits and pieces in the past. But Ara History Untold has a lot of similarities to your civilizations. The cool thing here is the whole dynamic world. Each decision you make ripples through time. Building a library in the wrong place might halt the progress of your culture, or deciding to declare peace instead of war could turn your neighboring empires into a juggernaut that crushes you later. The game features a living world, so expect change to the climate, culture, and political alliances through the ages. Unlike Civilization, though, where all players act in turns, Ara features simultaneous actions, which means every decision happens in real time, adding to so much more tension. What are your neighbors doing whilst you're planning your next trade route? Could they be around at any corner to pounce on your, well, more weaker cities that you didn't put the defenses in? That's something you've got to look out for. With multiplayer modes and tons of biomes to explore, from lush forests to desert wastelands, Ara History Untold promises a fresh take on the 4X genre. Plus, you can build massive monuments like libraries and forges, and if you're a fan of Civilization, I think you're going to find a lot here for you. This one is definitely going to keep us all glued to our screens. Now, if you thought the original Frostpunk was intense, wait until Frostpunk 2 launches tomorrow. 30 years after the Great Storm, the world hasn't gotten any warmer. It's still one giant freezer out there, but this time it's not about surviving, it's about building a new society from the ashes. While political factions constantly butt heads over resources, it is your job in order to keep things stable, but not just survive, now thrive. Frostpunk 2 gives you more control over how your city is designed. Instead of placing one building at a time, you're now working with entire districts, each one dedicated to a function like food, production, energy, or housing. Think of it Hunger Games, but everybody's wearing a jumper. But with every expansion comes greater challenges, more mouths to feed, more resources to find, and more political tension to manage. You have things called council halls within Frostpunk 2. This is where most of the magic happens. You have a council of around 100 members, each representing a different faction. These factions have conflicting ideals, and their votes matter when it comes to passing laws. It's kind of their way of introducing a diplomacy system within the game itself. If you want to introduce anything, well, it has to get through a majority on your side, unless you want to prepare for a rebellion. There's a whole lot of micromanaging when it comes to making decisions within this game. So yes, whilst you are this overlord that is building up this town, you have to make sure you're doing it in the right way to keep people happy. Because this is post-apocalyptic, snowy wasteland. You can't really be taking too many risks. Of course, it wouldn't be Frostpunk without the morally questionable decisions. Will you send children to work in the coal mine, or will you allow the sick to perish for the greater good? These are just things that you have to do in the dystopian future. It is very Warhammer 40k, but I think that's more the rage at this point in time. Whether you want to become a dictator or a democratic leader, whether your city flourishes or falls apart is all up to you. Trying to quell rebellions and grow as a society, Frostpunk 2 doesn't just want you to survive now, it wants you to master the cold. Some merely adopted the freezing wastelands. Others were born into it. there you have it. There's 4 incredible strategy games coming in 2024 and 2025. In fact, a few are coming within the next week or so. So hopefully that will scratch your itch for the deep thinking, epic planning, and heart-pounding decision making. Want to see more though? Please go and check out my playlist of compilation videos where you can see everything from medieval titles to sword fighting games. It's all on my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and until then, I will see you in the next one.